All right, let's talk about a true giant of industry, Toyota. For decades, they've been the gold standard for excellence. But how in the world did they do it? Well, today we're going to dive into the blueprint that built their empire. And you might be surprised to find out their real genius wasn't what you see on the road.
So that really brings us to the core question, right? What was Toyota's real secret? What was their secret sauce that let them not just compete, but completely rewrite the rules for manufacturing all over the world? I'll give you a hint. The answer is probably not what you think.
But before we can get to the real answer, we've got to unpack a major misconception. The story that pretty much everyone, and I mean everyone including their biggest competitors, believed for years.
You know, for the longest time, the common wisdom was that Toyota just took over the world because they built better, more innovative cars. And hey, that makes sense, right? A great product leads to great success. And for years, their rivals were obsessed with reverse engineering Toyota's vehicles, thinking the secret was buried somewhere in the steel and the engines.
But, and this is the absolute key, that's not the whole story. It's not even the most important part of the story. You see, the amazing cars were the result of their genius, not the cause of it.
Okay, so here it is, the real secret. The actual innovation that blasted Toyota into the stratosphere wasn't about the what. It was all about the how.
I mean, think about it. Anyone can eventually copy a car design. A competitor can go out, buy a Camry, take it apart piece by piece, and figure out how it works. But trying to copy a company's entire culture, its unique ways of working, well, that is a whole different ballgame. And that's where Toyota built its fortress.
This whole system, this unique way of working, was really built on two core pillars. Two revolutionary ideas that changed everything. Let's break them down.
Pillar number one is a concept you've probably heard of, just in time. But the way Toyota applied it, wow, it was nothing short of an art form in radical efficiency.
So what does that actually mean? Well, the idea is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Instead of making a mountain of parts and cars and letting them sit in some giant warehouse, you produce only what is needed, exactly when it's needed, and in the exact amount that's needed. Nothing more, nothing less.
And the impact of this was, well, it was huge. By doing this, Toyota basically eliminated the need for these massive, super expensive inventories. And that didn't just save a ton of money, it slashed waste and made their entire production line unbelievably flexible and responsive. They could react to what customers wanted almost instantly.
But that radical efficiency, that was only half the equation. The second pillar is what made the whole system so human, and what made it almost impossible for anyone else to just copy and paste. It was all about making improvement a part of everyone's job.
This philosophy is called Kaizen, a Japanese term that basically translates to continuous improvement. But here's the thing. This isn't about some huge top-down company overhaul. No way. It's all about making small, consistent, incremental improvements, day after day after day.
And this part is truly revolutionary. At Toyota, every single worker on the assembly line was empowered to suggest improvements. Not just the big ideas, but the tiny ones. Things like, hey, what if we reorganize this tool tray to save 3 seconds? Or what if we adjust the angle of this part to make it easier to install? Innovation wasn't the job of some special R&D team, it was everyone's responsibility. Just think about the compounding power of thousands of those tiny improvements every single day.
So you take that just-in-time efficiency, you combine it with that Kaizen culture of constant improvement, and there you have it, the full blueprint. This was so much more than a set of rules for a factory. It was a complete philosophy for how to work.
There's a quote that just nails this idea perfectly. These are not machines. They are not technologies. They are organizational practices, ways of working. The system wasn't about hardware you could buy. It was about the human software, the culture that was all about efficiency and relentless improvement. And that's the real secret sauce right there. The blend of just-in-time's efficiency and Kaizen's bottom-up culture created this self-reinforcing system of excellence. It was like a living, breathing organism, constantly learning and adapting. And that is something no competitor could ever replicate.
Okay, so after looking at all of this, what's the big idea? What's the thing we should really walk away with? How does this apply to us, outside of a car factory?
Here it is. True, sustainable success. The kind that builds empires isn't just about what you create. It's about how you create it. Your process, your habits, your ways of working. That's where the real long-term advantage is hiding.
And that leaves us with one final thought, a little piece of Kaizen for you to take with you. Forget about these massive, revolutionary changes for just a minute. Instead, just ask yourself this: what one small, tiny improvement can you make in your process and how you work today? Because as Toyota proved to the world, it's those small changes, day in and day out, that actually build an empire.